everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. We're gonna be talking about all the books that I want to read in the month of May today. It's a lot of books, guys. Before we hop into it though, I just want to say a quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video, which is Book of the Month. You guys already know I am such a big fan of Book of the Month. I've been using them for a little over 2 years now. I genuinely love being a part of Book of the Month. I find so many great new authors through them. It's also just really fun to get this cute little blue box at the beginning of every month with new books in it. Like, who doesn't love new books? If you've never heard of Book of the Month before though, they are a super popular online book service for readers. Their main mission is to help readers find books they love, but also help promote the work of emerging authors, which I think is so cool. Basically how it works is their team vets hundreds of books each month and gives readers their choice from a curated selection of new and early release titles, so you can spend more time reading and less time researching. Book of the Month also offers audiobooks, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I'm a total audiobooks girly now, so I love that they offer that. Book of the Month is also risk-free, so you can skip any month, anytime, and you won't be charged. Not to mention, they literally have the best prices for new release hardcover fiction, and you can get your first book for only $5 using my code PETALS. Guys, think about this. Your first hardcover book from Book of the Month is only $5. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys my picks for the month of May. I am so excited. They give you a free bookmark with every box, which is literally one of my favorite parts of Book of the Month. This one says, "Page is just a number." My first book pick was The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I'm so excited for this. Christina Lauren are also the authors of Love in Other Words, as well as The Unhoneymooners, and I loved those books so much. So I feel like this is going to be such a fun summery romance, and it's also a fake dating trope. The second book I picked up is The Ministry of Time. Can we just take a second with this cover? This is so cool. It's giving off all like the fun retro vibes. A boy meets a girl, the past meets the future, a finger meets a trigger, the beginning meets the end. I feel like with Book of the Month too, I've grown so much as a reader and I've expanded on the type of genres I typically read. Start the month of May off with some fun new reads, and they're hardcover. $5 for a hardcover book. You literally can't beat that, guys. You just can't. These are going right on my TBR cart for the month of May, but we are going to jump right into all the books that I want to read in the month of May. I have quite an ambitious pile. Last month I also had a pretty ambitious TBR, and I think I only had like 3 or 4 books left at the end of the month, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling optimistic. I think we can do it again. First, we're going to start with the 3 books that I actually had on my TBR list last month and I didn't get around to. First up, we have Foxglove by Adalyn Grace. I actually started this the other day, so I'm carrying it in to the month of May. But this is book 2. If you're not familiar, book 1 is Belladonna. I did a reading vlog on Belladonna, I want to say back in March. Life-changing, guys. I loved that book so much. It's a gothic romantasy type of read, and it is so much fun. I didn't think I was gonna like it because of like the gothic vibes, but I actually ended up loving it. But this is book 2. It's Foxglove. It's basically continuing on the story from Belladonna. Our main character is Signa, and she basically is like the only living person who can see death and see the ghost like after they die. It's a really interesting and different type of concept. I've never read anything quite like it, and the romance aspect to it all is probably one of the coolest I've ever read about, because it's basically a romance with death, which sounds so crazy. Every time I say it, I'm like, okay, wait, this sounds really weird. Anyways, I ate Belladonna up. I thought it was such a fun and cool type of read, and I am so very excited to be jumping in to Foxglove. Next up, I have First Down by Grace Riley. This is just a cutie, fun little football romance. It's book 1 in the Beyond the Play series. I think book 3 in the series is the baseball romance, and because it's springtime, I feel like it's the perfect time to read like a baseball romance. I'm pretty sure these are interconnected standalone books, but just for the sake of it, I usually like to read them in order nonetheless. I also haven't heard too much about these books, but I've heard that Grace Riley is a really fun and easygoing author, so I feel like this will be a really fun and cool read in the month of May. And then the last book I have from my April TBR is Juniper Hill by Devney Perry. This is book 2 in the Eden series, and I read book 1 in January, and it didn't hit. It didn't hit the way I was expecting it to. A lot of people had recommended it to me, saying that it was very similar to the Chestnut Spring series. It gave off like those fun small town vibes. Occasionally we get those cowboy vibes. I was really excited to jump into this series, but for some reason Indigo Ridge just fell short to me. I hear as you go on, the books get better and better. So I'm hoping this one is a little bit better than book one. I'm pretty sure it's a single parent trope. FMC is Memphis and she moves to Quincy kind of in search of a new life, a fresh start. She ends up finding a housekeeping job at this inn, and then she like lives in the apartment above the garage of the inn. Her temporary landlord is Knox Eden, and he's also like a fancy chef and all this stuff. So I'm excited to see what their romance has in store. I feel like it's gonna be fun. Now we are getting into the rest of the books that are on my May TBR. I have some really fun new releases in here. I have some summary reads. First up, I have Severed by Vengeance by Elle Maldonado. I'm so bad with names. Bear with me. This is what it looks like. It's a dark romance book and I don't know too much about it. I wanted to put it on my TBR this month though because it's part of my Probably Smut book subscription, and I got this back in like the fall last year and I just never got around to it. I wanted to give it a try this month because I haven't read dark romance in a hot minute, and I also love this special edition they did. I think it's very, very pretty. On the back it says, "She was mine, made for me, born to ruin me." And our two main characters are Evangelina and Derek. I'm kind of getting mob vibes, maybe Hitman vibes. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I haven't read a dark romance in a hot minute. Next up, we have King of Sloth by Anna Hong. This is book 4 in the Kings of Sin series, and I am so ready for this book. This is all about Sloane and Xavier. I've been waiting for their book literally since book 1, guys. We've gotten breadcrumbs of these two, and I'm just so excited. I'm excited for this enemies to lovers. I'm excited for the banter between the two of them because we get a little bit of banter between them in the first few books, and I've just been eating it up. We've gotten the bare minimum of them, okay? But any scene I got with them in it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna love them. Like, they're probably gonna be my favorite couple out of the series. Xavier is basically the big bad hot billionaire that everybody is obsessed with. He's also like a big player. He gets into trouble a lot, and Sloane is his publicist. She's trying to keep him out of trouble, trying to keep him nice looking to the public eye. She basically wants him to look good in front of the public and to stop getting in trouble. I feel like this is a really common storyline that I read a lot about, and for some reason I really, really enjoy it. I don't know why, but there's just something about this type of storyline that I really like and find interesting. But basically these two are constantly butting heads. There's constant banter between the two of them, and for some reason Xavier is going crazy because all the girls around him are always swooning after him and doing whatever he wants, but Sloane refuses to do that. She refuses to be one of those girls. On the back it says he never wanted anyone enough to chase them until he met her. I'm really excited for this one. It feels like it might be one of those books where he falls first, and I love when it's like that. I'm so excited. I love her books so much. I'm like obsessed with anything she puts out, and I'm just really, really excited for that one. Next up, we have Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I am obsessed with this cover. It is so stinking cute. If you're not familiar, Elle Kennedy is the author of the Off Campus series, the Briar U series, a bunch of like hockey romances. I kept seeing this in Barnes. I kept passing by it, looking at it, picking it up, and I finally decided to buy it. I'm super excited to read it because Elle Kennedy definitely has one of those super easy writing styles where I fly through her books. I feel like when I read her books too, they also just stick with me a little bit longer than other books do. The title is really what got me because I'm like, okay, this must be about a girl who's traveling abroad. I'm sure there's gonna be a fun, cheesy romance in here. It's these small exchanges that keep my head in a fog. The small expressions of his desire. It does a number on me. Everyone loves a secret. When 19-year-old Abby Bly gets the opportunity to study abroad for a year in London, it's the perfect chance to finally slip out from under the thumb of her beloved but overbearing retired rock star father. So that's a lot to unpack. Her father is a retired rock star. That's pretty cool. She's ready to be free to discover herself, but first off to meet the girl she's rooming with. That is until she arrives at her gorgeous new flat to discover those roommates are actually all boys. Charming, funny, insufferably attractive boys, and off limits with the rule against fraternizing between housemates after unwanted drama with the previous girl. Abby has never considered herself a rule breaker, but soon she's lying to her father about her living situation and falling for not one, but two men. She's falling for two of her roommates. She's got a rugby player roommate and a broody musician. Oh my gosh. A rugby player roommate. Okay, that sounds great because immediately I'm thinking of Binding 13. The musician roommate also sounds great, but he has a girlfriend. I don't like stories like that. I don't like that trope. That's gonna be interesting. Stay tuned for that reading vlog. Next up, I have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is another new release that I'm so excited for. I feel like this is gonna give off all of the summer vibes. It's gonna be amazing. I've also heard nothing but amazing things about Abby Jimenez. People rave about all her books. They say that her books are super addicting, they're bingeable, the romances in them are like top tier and beautifully written. So very, very excited for this one. I've seen so many people already like read it and review it too, and I've literally heard only good things about it. I'm very excited for this, but I have to say something that really bothers me about these books, and it's not about the author or anything, it's like the publisher, I think. I have 2 of her other books, and when they're all on my shelf together, they're all different heights. I don't like that. That is something I'm very bitter about. Then we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is another brand new release. Emily Henry is one of those authors who have always been really iffy for me. There's something about her writing style that is just a little bit on the bland side for me. I get very bored with them. I get distracted with them where I'm like totally losing focus and not even taking in what I'm actually reading. Last summer I read Happy Place though, and I really enjoyed that and enjoyed the romance in it. So I'm excited to give Funny Story a chance. I really want to like Emily Henry and her books because I think her storylines are amazing and I think she writes really great characters. It's just the way she puts it all together is kind of boring to me. I'm hoping this book like changes that for me, and I really hope I end up enjoying it. Next up, we have A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This is a new fantasy book that came out, I believe in the month of March this came out. This is actually the Proudly Smut special edition. It's one of my favorite special editions I've ever gotten from them, especially because it's like a hardcover book. On the back it says, "Her fate is inked in her blood. It's carved in her bones. This power is Feyre's destiny." It's basically like a Viking romantasy, and that just sounds so cool to me. I've never read anything Viking related. I feel like this has a lot of potential and could be a really, really cool fantasy book. It's also book 1 in its series. It's the Saga of the Unfated. Last but not least, we have Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. This is the Afterlight special edition. You see how it basically continues on. How stinking cool is that? I'm obsessed with Afterlight special editions. I could honestly say without a doubt they probably do the prettiest special editions I have ever owned. Aside from Fairy Loot, I feel like Fairy Loot does have some really, really good ones, but it's a cutie little golf romance, and I thought this would be at the perfect time to jump into it with the weather getting beautiful out. Chris and I are already planning our golf outings for the summer, so I thought this would be a really, really fun book to read this month. Something I have to say that makes me a little bit nervous is Tessa Bailey is definitely like one of those in-between authors for me. Some books I like, other books I don't really like. I just find it kind of hard to get into her writing style, and just in general too though, it's hard for me to really get into her storylines. I'm trying to stay positive, stay optimistic. I feel like this has a lot of potential because it's a fun, cutie golf romance, and I'm hoping that because I'm so used to going golfing out with Chris and stuff, that maybe I'll be able to make some fun connections in here. Anyways, these are all the books that I want to read in the month of May. I feel like these are all really great books that are going to set the tone for the spring and summertime. I feel like the vibes are going to be immaculate with warmer weather here, and we also have like a great variety here. We have some fun fantasy books. Hi, sweets. We have some fun fantasy books, romance books. We have some dark romance books. We have some sport romance books. I feel like there's a lot of potential 4 and 5 stars in here. I'm very, very excited for that. That is it though for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below what is at the top of your May TBR. Obviously, Foxglove is at the top of mine because I've already started it, but I think after I finish that, I'm looking towards like the newer release books. I feel like these 5 books here are the main books I'm gonna go after first. With all that being said, I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you in the next video.